Hello! Hi, it's Kimmy. How you doing? So today we are in like a different kind of background. I decided to get pictures to paste on my wall, and some pictures of my friends and I. Hi. So yeah. So today I will be talking about my realistic fashion job experience. I worked in the fashion industry for 5 years, and it's not necessarily a long time, but it's not short either. In that 5 years, I worked long-term in 2 companies and had 1 short-term job. And also I've experienced wholesale and also normal sit-down kind of office job, But today I'll be talking about my designer cum merchandiser experience in the wholesale market. Yes. Wholesale is probably an Asian thing and maybe not common in other countries, and also this job was the most unglam, challenging and taxing one I had. Hopefully this will give you a better and clearer picture on the industry based on my experience. Like I said in my things I wish I knew before majoring in fashion video, working in the fashion industry is nothing like what is being portrayed in the movies. So I will be talking about the aspects of the job that you might or might not know about, because I was lucky enough to work with both local and international markets, and I'm pretty sure it's obvious, but working with international orders was more challenging than the local ones. Just to let you know, this video will be more of a story time kind of video, and it won't be so formal like my previous videos. Before I continue, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and comment down below if you have any constructive criticisms or if you have a story to share yourself. So without further ado, let's just get on with the video. This job was my first permanent design/merchandising job, and it was for a wholesale company in Singapore. And this was probably my least favorite job in terms of the job scope, culture, and colleagues. It was a rather small company and only had 4 workers at the time, and we were really overworked. Usually designers work on weekdays, but I had to work half a day every Saturday, and it was taking a huge toll on me because the hours were really long. Moreover, the boss would constantly check up on us through CCTV, and we weren't allowed to touch our phones except during lunchtime. And the thing is, lunchtime was only less than 20 minutes. It wasn't a written rule per se, but if you were to eat longer than 20 minutes, my supervisor would come and give me the eye, and we weren't allowed to eat out and had to pack lunch back to the office. And who was always on lunch duty? This person right here. I personally do not work well while being under the microscope 24/7. Some people might enjoy it, but not me. For the job scope, I had to design by hand maybe around 20 designs a day, 4 days a week. It sounds easy, but I always get interrupted by other tasks such as handling all the other wholesale part of the job, so it wasn't really a sit down and work kind of job. I had to handle the wholesale/retail side as well, dressing up the mannequins maybe 3 times a week, taking orders from the big customers, sometimes even sewing labels for them was also my job. It all sounds easy, but because I was the only designer, it was tough for me to complete my job well because there was a lot of distractions and sometimes it did slow me down. The worst days were Mondays and Thursdays because those were the days the new stock and samples came in, so we had to be at work at 8 a.m. to sort everything out before the customers came flooding in. Just to paint a picture for you, we have an average of 30 new samples as well as around 10 big green bags of new stock every Mondays and Thursdays. And if you have not seen what kind of green bag I'm talking about, I will insert a picture on the screen for your viewing pleasure. And I had double the job to do because there were 4 people including me working the new stocks, but only I had to handle the new samples, so I had to label them, steam all the samples, and also each color and size for the new stock that just came in. I had to photograph the new stock and samples on the mannequin. And if you have not tried changing mannequins before, it is hella a tiring thing to do because there was a lot of bending, carrying the mannequin, taking out the clothes, putting them back on. And when you do this on the day you wake up at 6 in the morning, it will kill you before lunchtime even hits. On top of taking pictures on the mannequin, I had to lay the new samples on the floor and take flat pictures as well. Moreover, I was the sample tester since I was sample size, and testing all the samples was really time consuming because we had to look at the fit and see how to amend them. And while all this was happening, I also had to run around the store serving customers, taking stocks out from the storeroom, which involved a lot of climbing, and so it was really physically taxing. And I don't recommend you to take a wholesale job if you do not fancy this kind of job scope. I know I don't. And what makes this worse is that I'm always being blamed for being slow with designing, which is one thing everyone who has worked with me before know that this is not true, because I churn out designs faster than you can say Jack Robinson. But the thing is, I am doing the same job everyone else is doing on top of my design and merchandising, so there was a lot on my plate. But there was one thing I liked about the job was that my supervisor and I were allowed to do like a, what do you call it, a market study or like a market research one Saturday every 2 months, which is basically just going to Orchard Road, scouting for new trends and seeing what the bigger brands are selling to get a gauge on, you know, what works and what doesn't for the new collection. So it kinda took the sting out of working on the weekends because sometimes she would take me shopping. So yeah, that was kind of fun, I guess. Also, with this job, we were required to travel to Hong Kong and China once every 4 months. And once we landed, it was like go, go, go. We had to walk around the wholesale market while lugging our huge ass luggages. And since I was the new employee, I had to carry all the extra baggies like a servant, and it was tough to move around because my supervisor had one luggage and she was walking around easy breezy while I had to like keep up with 3 bags. So once that is done, it will be nightfall and we will head to the hotel, which is around 3 hours away. And once we reach the hotel, you might think that I'm able to rest, but nay. I had to design as soon as I reached the hotel and finally get to rest at around 2 a.m. And I had to wake up earlier because she wanted to sleep in. Every morning we start our day by visiting the factories and getting things sorted, and then we head to the fabric market, which is called 中大 or 国际机房城. My Mandarin is useless, but I think that is what it's called. The place is super huge, like it had 6 to 7 stories, and the whole area around the building itself is filled with fabric and trimmings vendors. I loved going there because it felt like I was in my element, and that was the only time in the trip that I was alone. Moreover, usually when you go on company trips, the company would pay for your food, but I was given $100 for 4 days, which was approximately 500 renminbi, which would be sufficient if I chose the places to eat. Because my supervisor was particular on the places she eats, which were quite pricey, and I had no choice but to follow her. So at the end, usually I had to fork out my own money for the extra expenses. So in conclusion, traveling overseas isn't my favorite aspect of the job. Although it does sound nice, like, oh, you get to travel and like take time away from work, but actually traveling overseas is way more tiring than being like in the office. So that pretty much sums up the gist of my wholesale job experience. Is it something you expected, or you've known this all along? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you would like to hear about my experience working with a big fast fashion company, hit the like button and subscribe so that I know my stories are helping you get a more realistic picture of the industry. You can also check out my previous video on things fashion school failed to teach you and things I wish someone told me before majoring in fashion. Don't forget to connect with me through Instagram. I have 2 accounts. My personal account is at Hi, it's Kimi, and for cute illustrations you can follow Kimi Scribbles. See you guys in the next one. Goodbye.